So welcome. Missy, I'll let you do the introduction.
Sure. Hey guys, I think I know most of you. I'm Missy Chambro. I do the health programming with Brittany, who does more of the fitness side for Special Olympics Wisconsin. And we are super lucky to have an intern this month from Mount Mary, and she is getting her master's in dietetics. So we have Hannah Boonzaayer with us today. I'm not sure she's in the middle of my screen, but she's going to show us a cooking demonstration and talk a little bit about nutrition and things that we want to think about when we're cooking our dinner and how to eat healthy. So I'm going to turn it over to Hannah, but we definitely will have time, you guys, for questions at the end too. And I just want to thank you again for being here with us tonight, because I love seeing all your faces. So sit back and enjoy.
Well, don't get too relaxed, because I want you guys to be doing some work with me today. So hi, thank you, Missy, for the introduction. I'm so excited to be here tonight and be cooking. So I hope you guys brought your appetite, or you're looking for some recipe ideas, because we're going to make a great dinner this evening. So first off, I don't know if anybody brought a plate, because it is dinner time. So I'd like you all to have a plate near you. Oh, awesome, Amy. Okay, so everybody, if you do have a paper plate, oh, awesome. You can show us your paper plate. We're going to start here, and we're all going to design our own healthy athlete plate. So I wanted to start with this, and then we're going to fill our plate throughout the presentation or the Zoom session today. So if you don't have a plate, that's totally okay. You can run and grab one now, or you can get a pen and a piece of paper and just use that and make a plate later. But if you have your plate, you can grab it now, grab your pen or your pencil, whatever you have on hand. And maybe everybody just give me a thumbs up if you're ready to make your plate, just so I know we can get started.
And bigger or GD rams or whatever.
Whiteboard, that works great. So you can really use anything. Oh,
yes.
Got her plate. So, or a piece of paper and just draw a circle on it, and you can pretend that that's your plate. Anything like that. Oh, I see Jennifer's got a nice Christmas. Ooh, that's awesome. Okay, so then you'll need a pen or a pencil, and we're going to get started. So the first thing I want you to do is draw a line down the middle of your plate. So we're going to divide it in half as best you can. Oh, I need a different pen. 1 second. Okay, my paper plate has a coating on it, so it's like not. There we go. Okay, so it looks like we got our plate. Draw one line down the center. You can show me your line. Okay, looking good. So on the whichever side you like, pick a side. We're going to write fruits and vegetables. Okay, so on one side, write fruit and vegetables. Then we can all show our plate when we're done. I wrote kind of small, so you might not be able to see mine. But on the same side, I want you to have fruits and vegetables. Looking good, everybody. Awesome, Andrew. That looks great. Good, good. Okay, so now.
Thank you, Hannah.
On the empty side, we're going to divide that in half again. So on the side that doesn't say fruits and vegetables, draw a line so that you'll have two sides. Okay, so it should be looking like that, just like Brittany's. So now we should have 3 sections total on our plate. Looking good.
Like what? Yeah.
How's this? Oops.
Looking good.
Oops. Does that spit operate? No.
I think that looks right, Alex. So you should have one big section that says fruits and vegetables, and then 2 smaller sections on the other side. And then on the top section, we're going to write whole grains, okay? So on the top, or it could be the bottom section, I just want you to put whole grains in one section.
Okay. Is it divided into fingers? Let me see the picture of it. And I'll help you.
I can't see it,
Okay,
Mom.
let's see.
I don't know what I did.
Okay, let's see. Oops.
Sorry, mine's kind of small.
Fruits and
Brittany's a great
vegetables and
example.
whole grains. Okay. You hold it, Claire, and I'll write it.
I don't know what I did, Mom.
No, right here.
Okay, so now we have two sections labeled. We have whole grains, which we just did, and then we have another section that says fruits and vegetables. So we have one empty section left, and I want us to write lean protein, okay? So one more section, you're gonna fill it in and put lean protein.
Is that started E or is broccoli is broccoli IRT or broccoli?
Well, somebody's ahead of the game. They're putting foods in their
Yeah.
curriculum already.
It's broccoli BRAY or is it BOTY? Yeah.
I'll put it in the chat, Alex, so if you want to write it down.
What?
I don't want this to be in squares. I don't know what's like that,
What do
Mom.
you want it to be in?
So now that our plate is filled out, we're gonna fill our plate.
Broccoli. Yeah, that's the apples right now.
Label.
The apples right now.
And now we're gonna go through the different ingredients that you need for our recipe. And I'm gonna ask you about each ingredient, and I want you to write that ingredient in the right section on your plate. So by the end of the presentation, your plate will be full of different foods under fruits and vegetables, protein, and grains, okay? So first we're gonna go through what we need. Okay, so the first ingredient, in no particular order, I'm just gonna start showing you, is, somebody already talked about it, we need broccoli.
Broccoli.
You can answer in the chat, or you can put it down in your plate. I want you to tell me or put down or show me, what group does broccoli go in on our plate? Which section?
Vegetables.
So you can write it in the chat. Brittany and Melissa will probably keep an eye on the chat a little bit better than I will.
Broccoli.
But broccoli. So put in where you think broccoli should go. I'm going to keep moving through our ingredients. And then at the end, we can talk about which place they need to be in. So the next ingredient we have is some chicken, which I haven't cooked yet. But we have some chicken that's going to go in our burrito.
You have a slide.
Next, we have some tomatoes. Next, we have some lettuce. And you'll get the recipe at the end of this too, so you can check out the ingredients again. Next, we have some wraps, some whole wheat wraps.
Okay.
So whole wheat, which category would wheat go in? And then we have some brown rice. So where would brown rice go on our plate? I think that is everything that we're going to put on our plate. Okay, so to start, I'm going to chop up some broccoli. We are going to roast in the oven. So if you don't like broccoli, there's many other vegetables you could substitute, like peppers, an onion, or zucchini, anything you like. But I just chose broccoli for today. But remember, you can choose any vegetable you like. Okay, I'm going to tilt the camera a little bit. So I'm just going to chop up. Woo! I'm going to try to keep you from falling over. I'm just going to chop up some broccoli. So if chopping broccoli seems like a little bit too much work and you need to do a quick dinner, another option is you can grab some frozen broccoli, and then it comes and it's already chopped up for you. So that's another option. And then you're going to go over to your oven. I'll just grab my pan. And after we chop the broccoli, I cheated a little bit because I already have some chopped up. We're gonna put it on our pan to roast it in the oven. So I'm gonna roast up a little bit extra so that I can have this burrito tomorrow for dinner too, just because it makes it a little bit easier if you have some stuff you can whip out of the fridge. So next, if you remember, I asked you to get a teaspoon, which if you don't have it, that's okay. You can leave it in your kitchen and grab it another time. But if you do, that's great. So this teaspoon, it doesn't go on our plate right away, but it adds up throughout the meal. So the teaspoon is supposed to represent how much fat we're gonna have in each meal. So we can have 1, 2, or 3 of these per meal, depending on what we're making, especially if it's oil. It's really helpful to measure it out because sometimes it comes out fast. So today I'm using olive oil to put on my vegetable, but you can use vegetable oil or canola oil or avocado oil, grapeseed oil. There's so many different kinds of oils. So you can pick whichever one you like. So I just put some oil on my broccoli. Then I'm gonna take some salt and pepper to season it. I'm just going really basic with the seasonings this evening, but you can always do garlic powder or you could go spicy with cayenne. You could do any other kind of seasonings that you really like, but I'm just gonna use some salt and pepper just to keep it quick and simple. And then I'm gonna mix that together a little bit just to get it all evenly coated in the oil. And again, if you're using frozen or canned, just drain off the extra liquid and pop it on your tray. So I'm gonna pop this in the oven. That's gonna bake while we make our other ingredients. Okay, so broccoli is in the oven. So next we are going to just clean up a little bit. Try to keep it clean as I go. Okay. So next I'm going to move on to the chicken. So if you haven't already, I want you to write chicken in the correct place on your plate, and we'll go through it at the end. So remember, we're building our plate here. So which section do you think chicken goes in? Is it fruits and vegetables, whole grains, or lean protein? So pop it on in your plate wherever you think it goes. And I'm gonna start cooking up the chicken. See if I can bring you with me, going over to the stove. So I don't know if you can see, but I'm over here by my stove, just started the heat. And again, I'm gonna add some oil to the pan, and I'm gonna use my teaspoon measure again. So I did 1 for the broccoli. I'm gonna do 2 for the chicken. I'm making a little bit extra again because it's nice to have leftovers so you don't have to cook 2 nights in a row. So I'm just gonna let that warm up. And then for our chicken, you can season it however you like. So the recipe says Southwest seasoning rub. I didn't find a Southwest mix at the store, so I am just gonna use a steak seasoning that I already had. And it's just pepper and garlic and some other spices. So you can season your chicken however you want. You could, again, just do salt and pepper. You could do spicy, anything you like. Also, if again, you're having a bit of a lazy dinner, you want something quick, you can instead find some chicken already cooked. So this is kind of like a lunch meat chicken that just came in chunks. And it's called like grilled chicken strips. So this is something you could just heat up in the microwave and add to your burrito, and you wouldn't need a pan or any other cooking utensils, and it could be ready a lot quicker. So that's just another option. I don't know if you can hear that sizzle. I'm adding the chicken to the pan. Just gonna sprinkle some seasoning on. Okay, so give that a little stir, and I'll just let that cook while we prep our other ingredients. So I'm gonna take you back over here. So next we need some tomatoes. So I just got some cherry tomatoes from the store. So this is another ingredient. If you haven't written it down already, I want you to put it wherever you think it goes on your plate again, whatever section you think tomatoes would go on for your burrito. So I just bought the cherry tomatoes and then I chopped them up a little bit smaller because I felt like they were a little bit big to fit on my burrito. So I just made them a little bit smaller. Another topping we have is lettuce, or you could do spinach. So where do you think lettuce is gonna go on your burrito? Pop it in wherever you think. Another ingredient I mentioned earlier was brown rice. So there's a couple options that you can do with brown rice when you're cooking. So again, if you're short on time, you might be able to find a microwave packet. So this is a 90-second quinoa and brown rice packet that you just pop in the microwave, you tear open, and there's your rice, and it's all cooked for you. But if you want to make it on the stove, you can just take some dry rice and add it to a pan on the stove and just follow the package instructions for how long to let it simmer and cook. And then you have your rice that way too. So there's a few options for how to cook your rice. Just wanted to include that. So this next one might be a little bit tricky. We can talk about it at the end, but we also have black beans. So I want you to think about where black beans might go on your plate. And if you're not sure, maybe just put them in the middle or put them in every section. It's kind of a bit of a tricky one. So take your best guess. We can talk about it at the end, but where would beans go on your plate? So that's another one. So when you're choosing beans, one second, I'm just gonna stir my chicken around. I'll be right back. Okay, chicken's getting close to being ready. So when you're choosing your black beans, something to think about is looking at the sodium, which is another word for salt, on the nutrition facts label. So we want to choose our more processed foods or foods that come in a can or a bag. We want to try to choose low sodium options, so low salt. So it's nice to look and see on the can if it says no salt added or low sodium. That is a healthier option to choose, okay? Because we want to limit our sodium intake throughout the day because it can add up quick. So this can doesn't say low sodium or no salt added. I couldn't find one, which is okay. So there's another trick you can do if you can't find a low sodium can of beans or whatever you have, is take a strainer and empty your beans into your strainer and then rinse them under cold water until all the bubbles are gone. So it's gonna start bubbling up. I want you to keep rinsing your beans with that cold water until all the bubbles are gone and the water runs clear. And that's just gonna help you wash away some of that extra salt, okay? So they won't be so salty. So that's a little tip. Try to choose low sodium, and if you can't, rinse your beans or whatever vegetable you have until all the bubbles are gone, okay? I'm gonna check my chicken one more time. Might be almost ready. Okay, it just needs a few more minutes. How are we all doing? Good?
Doing great.
Questions so far? Any questions? You can always pop them in the chat. Hopefully Brittany and Missy, you guys are checking the chat. I haven't been looking at it too closely yet.
Did you say, did you say the bands, they said you have to, have, did you say, strain the beans, or do you have to drain the water out of the beans?
Yeah, kind of both. So we're putting the water in the strainer and all the liquid from the can will go out, and then you're rinsing them to get rid of that extra salt. Does that make
So-
sense?
Yes, so you take the salt off the beans?
Yeah, yeah.
That
That
Go
just
to
helps.
that room and say, where is dairy?
Looks like, Clara, did you have a question?
Yes. I kind of put it in the chat, and I put it the word dairy.
Yeah, where does dairy fall on our plate?
Yeah, that's a great question. So dairy can be in different areas on our plate depending on our meal. So in this meal, there isn't any dairy in our burrito. Of course, you can add cheese. So then we would just add a little section for dairy and we could put right our cheese in. Or I also asked if you could maybe bring a cup or a glass, because sometimes we have a drink with our meal. And so you could fill this with some low-fat milk, and that could be your dairy for the meal. Or if you are vegetarian, you could have soy milk, which is another great option. So, or if you already had your dairy servings for the day, you can just have water or maybe an herbal tea or anything else like that to drink. So sometimes dairy's on our plate, or it could be in our cup. So I just wanted to give that as an option too. Okay, I'm gonna check the chicken again.
Okay. Michael, do you want to ask your question while we're waiting?
Yeah, so the question is,
Oop, you just muted yourself, I think on accident.
sorry about
There
that.
you go.
Tomorrow I'm going to dinner with the UWM boys baseball team. We're going to Taco Bell, maybe Canoba tomorrow, same kind of food she's making to Canoba tomorrow for team meal before Friday night game. What's good food to eat before I work and do the first pitch tomorrow UWM game on Friday? What's good kind of food I can eat before my first pitch? Because I'm doing that with UWM baseball team on Friday.
So good
Okay.
food to eat
Tomorrow
before.
will be like a hard practice for us.
Yeah.
Okay, so was the question a good meal or foods to eat before a practice? Was that the
Yeah.
question? Okay, good question.
Before the game tomorrow, Friday game at 1 o'clock. Yeah, because
Oh,
I'm not going to eat no food till about 4 o'clock after the game. We're going to do. I'm the boys baseball manager, so I
okay.
game at 4 o'clock tomorrow. What is good kind of food to eat like for lunch before game day?
That's a great question. So before a game or a practice, a really hard practice, I'm gonna pop the chicken off. Some good foods to eat are foods that are a little bit higher in the whole grains or the fruits and vegetables that are on our plate. So that food is going to be digested into quicker form of energy than a protein or a fat, which we want a lot of energy for our game or our competition or in practice, of course. So having meals that are higher in fruits and vegetables and grains are going to give us a little bit more energy before our competition. And then after our competition, we can still have those foods, but then maybe it's a little bit better to have a little bit more protein and maybe some healthy fats after our competition so that we can rebuild that muscle that we've been working really hard. So some examples of that would be before a game, maybe for lunch, you have a peanut butter and banana sandwich. So you're having a banana and you're having 2 slices of bread, maybe whole wheat bread. So that's a lot of whole grains and a fruit which is going to give you good energy. Maybe have a little peanut butter, which is a little bit of protein and fat. And then after your competition for dinner, maybe you have a slice of chicken breast or turkey burger, or something like that. And then you have that with maybe some guacamole, or you fry it in some oil. And then you have like a bun on with your burger or something like that, or you have maybe potato and a salad. So something like that. Does that make sense for what to eat before and after?
Yeah, thank you. Because anyway, I'm the boys baseball manager because the only food I can have, like my job is to bring the ball back and forth to the umpire because I cannot bring enough food in our place this year because COVID-19 rule is we cannot bring enough food inside the dugout. So
Okay.
what is good kind of small snacks I can use and keep in my backpack?
Yeah, good question. So some snacks, I think like whole fruits and vegetables are always great. So like a banana, an apple,
Okay.
maybe some trail mix and with some dried fruit in it, granola bars.
Okay.
If you have a little cooler, maybe you can pack some yogurts and add fruit to that.
And maybe some kiwis.
Love kiwis, so delicious. Yeah.
Kiwis.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
How you doing, Brittany?
Okay, so I think it's the moment that we can start to put together all of our different ingredients. So I'm going to get a dinner plate and we're going to start putting our ingredients together. And then we can see where you guys put your ingredients on your plate. So I'm going to start with my wrap. So I'm going to start with one wrap, add that to my plate. So you can microwave this for like 10 or 15 seconds just to warm it up. I'm going to put on some warm ingredients, so I'm just going to skip that step for now. But yeah, you can warm it up in a pan or on the microwave. Okay, next we're going to add we can add our brown rice first. So we're going to add 1/3 cup of brown rice. So I just cooked it in the microwave. So I'm just going to take my 1/3 cup, scoop out the brown rice. And while I'm doing this, maybe you guys can answer where you put the brown rice and the different ingredients on your plate. So let's start with the wrap. Can somebody tell me where on the plate would the wrap go? What would that go under?
Raise your hand. You still gotta see it.
Yeah, go ahead, Jennifer.
Grains.
Grains. Yes, that's awesome. Great, Jennifer. So whole grains would be where the wrap goes. That's perfect. Okay, and so now I just added the rice, so we can do that next. Where did everybody put the rice on their plate?
Whole grains. Raise hand.
Just wait.
All right, you can say it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So it was my mom. Okay. It's called whole grains.
Perfect. That's it. You got it, Clara. Thank you.
Yes.
Did
Thank
everybody
you.
get those? Give me a thumbs up. Who got?
Yeah, thumbs up.
Awesome.
You had them both right, didn't you?
Yes.
Some of them let other people
Good,
answer.
that's great. Okay, so next I'm going to add, what do we have? We have our beans, 1/3 cup of beans. So this was a bit of a tricky one.
I'll take this.
I'm going to add my beans. Who wants to be a brave soul and guess where the beans go?
Jennifer?
Teams.
I'm sorry.
Protein?
Protein? Was that it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great, Jennifer. So the beans are actually a vegetarian source of protein.
E-I-N.
So you can put that under lean protein. Was that a tricky one? Did we get the beans? Anybody put the beans under the protein?
No, I put on vegetables.
On vegetables? I can understand. They do kind of seem like a vegetable. So that's understandable.
Does it belong in vegetables or in the protein?
Is it protein?
It's a little bit of both. A bean is technically not the same as like broccoli,
yeah.
or a potato, or, you know, our vegetables.
So should I erase it and put it on protein?
You could put it under protein. I think that would be a little bit better. Just because, yeah, beans are kind of like in the legumes.
Ham is protein. Ham is protein.
It does have a healthy source of protein for our bodies. All
Here,
kinds.
make-
Okay, next I'm gonna add our chicken.
Huh? Steak.
And I just want to note that
Hamburger.
if you are cooking chicken at home, it's really helpful if we can use a meat thermometer just to make sure that we cook the inside of our meat to a healthy temperature that kills all the germs, okay? So for chicken, it would be 165 degrees. So I just stick my thermometer in the chicken and I make sure it goes up to 165, and then I know that it's ready and good to eat. And you can always Google if you're not sure what temperature you should cook your meat to. You can just look it up on Google and then see. So I'm going to add my chicken to my burrito. So what category do we think chicken goes under on our plates? Who wants to guess?
Protein? Chicken.
Yes, that's awesome. Chicken
right.
would be under the lean protein. That's right.
Protein. Protein chicken.
Good job. Okay, I'll just put the chicken back.
Brittany, I got chicken and protein, Brittany.
Good job, Alex.
All
Chicken and
right,
protein.
next one, I'm gonna get out of the oven.
Okay. Broccoli.
Our
Look at
broccoli
us, my broccoli.
is cooked and bright green, which means it's ready. It's been in for about 10 to 15 minutes. That should do the trick.
Even broccoli is it goes in vegetables because broccoli, Brittany.
I think you're right.
Because
Okay, I think somebody
because broccoli is a
might have-
vegetable, broccoli. But some people don't like broccoli.
So raise your hand if you like broccoli. I'm curious. Who likes broccoli?
I love broccoli.
I
Oh,
do.
great. Oh my
You
God,
like-
look at broccoli people.
You like broccoli, Kimberly?
She wants to see.
I like one better
Great,
than
that's
broccoli.
great.
Hannah, I have a question about how the temperature that you cooked the broccoli in the oven. Was that 350 or was it hotter than that?
The temperature for the broccoli, I believe, is 425.
Oh, so it's hot. Okay.
Pretty hot. So yeah, that's why it gets done a little bit quicker. I'll show you guys how the burrito's looking so far.
Oh, that's a nice burrito, Hannah.
Great, glad you like it. Yeah, that's how it's looking.
And you got
So,
some broccoli.
Did you take your?
did anybody say what
No.
category broccoli is under? Did we already talk about that?
That
Vegetable.
That's-
That's
Yeah.
broccoli.
You
You like
guys-
broccoli?
Yep.
You like
So next
broccoli,
I'm
kiddo?
gonna-
And
Oh.
cover.
Next, I'm going to add our tomato that I diced up. So which category is tomato under?
Veggies.
Peter, it's vegetables. Huh.
Yes, beef.
Do you know, Jake?
Yes,
What is it, Jake?
tomatoes technically a fruit.
I thought it was a vegetable. No?
Well, let me just say you're both right. So if you put it in the fruits and vegetables, we're all winners here because yes, technically tomato is a fruit, but usually we consider it a vegetable. I guess it's kind of a blurry line, but
Hannah, but how is tomato a fruit? I thought it was a vegetable, no?
I know we usually just consider it a vegetable, but it technically, because of like it's a flowering plant or something like that, it's in the fruit category because of the seeds or just the way that it forms. But usually we just count it as a vegetable. But you can put it in either category, and that is fine by me. I think you're both right.
Even if Venus flytrap is like a plant.
It is. That is a really interesting plant to me. Okay, we're almost done building our burrito. So I'm going to add some lettuce. Where do we think lettuce goes?
Raise your hand or just.
Vegetables.
I think I heard it. Oh, Clara raised her hand. Yeah, what do you think, Clara?
It's vegetables.
Yes, another win for vegetables. That is
Yes.
right.
And I have another one for you. Sorry. Where does dessert go under?
Dessert. That is a great question. I know. We don't have a dessert category on our plate. What's up with that? That is a great question, Clara. Well, the reason I didn't put dessert in our plate is because I wanted us to create an everyday plate or a meal that we could look at for every time we're making a breakfast or lunch or a dinner, so we could kind of see, okay, this is how many fruits and vegetables, protein, and grains I should be having. And I know dessert isn't on there, usually because dessert isn't something we have at every meal or every day even. It kind of depends. It's something we usually have on special occasions or maybe just for a treat or birthday or something like that.
Like ice cream and cake and Hannah.
Ice cream, cake. Yep, those are great examples of dessert. Sounds delicious.
And even my favorite chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, so good.
Ice cream.
How about Jello?
Jello is not. Is that a dessert, Peter?
All right, let's
Yes.
finish up this recipe though, guys. I think we could talk about desserts for a long time. Trust me, I could, but let's finish up this recipe first, okay?
Yeah, so that's all good questions. I just want to show you guys the burrito. So here we go. Hopefully you can see it. This is everything added to our burrito minus the salsa. So if you like salsa, you can top it with a few tablespoons of spicy, medium, mild salsa, or you can maybe add some guacamole. Or again, we talked about dairy. So if you like cheese and you want to add some cheese to your burrito, there's lots of different toppings you could go with. But I'm going to do the salsa, and that's going to finish off our burrito recipe. So I hope you enjoyed cooking with me and making this burrito. I just want to show you. So we've been working on this plate, and I know I put the burrito all together in one kind of conglomeration, but I've just deconstructed a burrito for you too, so that we can see what it looks like if it wasn't put all together on our plate, so that we can point out that half the plate is our fruits and vegetables, and we're making sure we're filling our plate the way we created it. So here is a deconstructed burrito. I hope you guys can see it okay. It's a little hard with my laptop camera, but if you notice, half of the plate is fruits and vegetables, mostly vegetables. And then we have a bit of chicken, our rice, our beans, and our wrap. So that's how it looks. And that's what we want to try to do when we're making a breakfast, a lunch, or a dinner. We want to try to make sure we're getting our fruits, our vegetables, our lean proteins, and our whole grains. So I hope that was helpful for you, along with a drink and our teaspoon for fats. But yeah, I hope that was helpful for you and you enjoyed cooking or making that dinner. Who likes burritos? Do we have a lot of people who like burritos? Oh, good. Okay, I picked the right recipe for you guys. Good. That makes me happy. We do have some questions. Okay, yeah. That we would love for you to fill out, just so we can learn a little bit more about what you thought about the presentation. So yeah, hopefully they pop up on your screen now.
So the first question, they're a little bit separate. So the first one we'll do on its own, and then we'll ask some more questions. So who cooks in your home? You cook for yourself? Do you have someone in your family or maybe a staff member cooking for you? Maybe you don't cook much, you order food or you go out to eat. Or maybe you don't cook much because you buy ready to eat food from maybe the grocery store or something. So those are your options. If none of those work for you, just try to pick the one that's closest to what you do.
We cook together, Brittany.
And I think that might be everyone because we have some staff on. So I will end and maybe not.
My parents cook for me, then I go out to eat with UWM baseball team. That's how I do it.
My sisters do it.
So
They
it
might
looks
bother
like
sometimes.
everyone here has someone in your family or maybe a staff member cooking for them. So that's good to know. We're all in the same boat. I have a family member too. I make my husband cook for me.
You do it. How
I
come you
make
don't
my
cook,
parents
Brittany?
cook, and then I go out to dinner with UWM baseball team.
You don't cook, Brittany.
All right. Well, we got a few more questions and then we can chit chat. So the next question I'm going to launch here. This one you can choose more than one answer. So what did you learn from this presentation? So you can pick 1, 2, 3, or all 4. So maybe you learned a new cooking skill. You learned a new recipe that you'd like to make. Learn different types of food to have on your healthy dinner plate and proper portion sizes.
Yes.
So I think we have maybe one more person. There we go. That's everyone.
Whoa.
So looks like everyone learned different types of food to have on their healthy plate, and that was the goal. So awesome.
That's 100. That's 100, Brittany.
Yeah, 100%.
Whoa.
And still have a lot of other good things that we learned, some cooking skills and recipes and portion sizes. So that's great. All right, the next one is a little bit more of a quiz. Hopefully you're paying attention. There's actually a few questions on this one. So take your time. I'll read them out. So number 1, all of these are part of a daily balanced meal except whole fruits and vegetables, whole grains, lean protein, or processed foods. So you're going to pick the one that's not part of a balanced meal. And for number 2, oops, scrolled too fast. What is the serving size for a serving of fat at each meal?
We had a teaspoon.
1 to 3 teaspoons, 6 teaspoons, or 1 to 3 tablespoons. Number 3, which one of these is a whole grain? White rice, Wonder Bread or white bread, a strawberry donut, or a whole wheat pasta? So which one is a whole grain? Number 4, which one of these is a lean protein? Eggs, chicken, turkey, or beef? And the last one, how much of your plate should be fruits and vegetables? So hopefully you took notes. Half of your plate, your whole plate, or a quarter of your plate? So looks like we got a few votes coming in already.
Oops. Sorry, Brittany. I hit 1.5 fuzz protein. Huh.
That's all right. We'll talk about the answers. I'll have Hannah talk about the answers.
Yeah.
We got a few more people we're waiting on, but that's okay. Take your time. I know there's a lot of questions.
That's a lot of proteins, Brittany.
I know that one was tricky for me too.
Even the one I don't. That's the one I didn't know.
Well, good. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Make sure everybody knows. I think we're waiting maybe one more person. Give a few more seconds here.
Oops. Is somebody cut in or?
What?
It sounds like somebody's cut in, Brittany. Somebody cut in?
Might be my dog walking around on the floor. His nails.
Oh, it sounds like. Oh, but it sounds like he was.
Hang on, Alex. I'm going to mute you just for a second so we can talk about the answers. I think someone might still be thinking, but I'm going to cut you off just so we have time to talk about it. So I'm going to end the poll and share. So Hannah, I'll let you take it over and talk about the answers.
Okay, so for number 1, all of these are part of a daily balanced meal except. Okay, so we did pretty good on this. Most of us got it. It's processed food. So it was the one thing we didn't really talk about today, and that is processed foods. So whole fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins, everything we put on our plate, those are foods we want to be having at almost every single meal if we can. And then processed foods like a donut or those desserts we were talking about, or maybe chips or any other processed foods you can think of, those are foods we want to have a little bit less often and not have on our plate at every meal. So you guys did pretty good for that one. Next, we have what is the serving size for a fat at each meal. So for today, I used 1 to 3 teaspoons. So most of you guys got it. I know it was a little confusing. I put tablespoons in there, but we want to make sure we're using the teaspoon. So if you brought it to your meal today, that's what we're going to measure with.
Right here.
So next I put which one of these is a whole grain. So this one is a little tricky, but the right answer was whole wheat pasta. And I tried to give you a little bit of a hint, and that's something you can look for on food labels too. If you look at the ingredients list and it says whole wheat or whole brown rice or whole oats or something like that, then you know that it is a whole grain. So that's a word you can look for in the ingredients list to help you determine if you're having a whole grain or a refined grain. So the other examples are refined. Which one of these is a lean protein? Okay, so I missed a word in this question. It's supposed to be which one is not a lean protein. So that's why it's a little bit tricky. So no worries if you didn't click the right answer for this one. So out of these, the beef would actually be the one that is not a lean protein. The eggs, chicken, and turkey are all correct answers. Those would all be lean proteins. The reason beef isn't considered a lean protein is because it's a bit higher in fat and saturated fat than the other proteins that are listed. So that's why we say lean protein versus like just a regular protein. So I'm sorry if that one confused everybody. But yeah, just to remember that beef is maybe something we want to have a little bit less often, and we want to stick to those lean proteins like the eggs, chicken, and turkey, just because they're a little bit lower in fat. And then our next question was, how much of your plate should be fruits and vegetables? I really want everybody to remember this question. So remember to look at your plate if you need a hint, but half of your plate should be fruits and vegetables. So most of us got it. And I really want you all to try to remember that when you're making your meals at home every day. Half of your plate, you really want to pile in those fruits and vegetables. And then our last question, I'm having trouble scrolling. Did we have one more question? Was that
the last one?
Okay. Well, good job, guys, on the quiz. And thank you so much for all your participation throughout. I had so much fun cooking and making a healthy meal and plate with you. So thank you so much all for coming. And if you have questions, feel free to stay. We can chat. But yeah, that's everything I have for you today.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
You.
Good to see everyone.
Hi, Alice.
Bye.
Hi, Alice.